in heaven, that's the way to make it. You just got that.
This happy American family was born out of a tragedy thousands of miles away in Sierra Leone.
When my birth father was coming to Freetown to exchange some goods for the family to be able to support the family, and then the boat capsized in the middle of the sea and killed so many people that were in the boat.
Michael and his 7 siblings arrived in the US after being adopted from an orphanage, where they were told there was little chance of staying together.
We were a large family, and the caregivers in the orphanage kept saying there's no way anybody will ever adopt 8 kids at a time, so you guys may as well just start thinking about splitting up maybe into pairs of 2 and 3s and things like that.
In the US, Mike and Haley had 2 children of their own, but still had adoption in mind.
We had always talked about adoption even when we were dating, and had always known that we wanted to adopt from the continent of Africa, but we didn't know where. We didn't know, a sibling group or anything like that. We always thought we would adopt a little boy.
Through a contact in Sierra Leone, Mike and Haley heard of the orphanage and paid a visit. The plight of the 8 siblings touched their hearts. Soon after, they began the adoption process.
I traveled over there over the 3 years, 12, 15 times probably. I would stay there anywhere 1, 2, 3 months in Sierra Leone, then come back here in America for 3 or 4 months, and then go back and do the same thing again, just trying to make some headway with the country there.
The weight of 8 was just so much, so just had to really pray and seek God's guidance on it, and he just clearly told me that the 8 was what we had to do.
Finally, the big day arrived when the siblings set foot on US soil.
There was 2 things I can remember off my head. It was the weather and the food. Those 2 things were big adjustments for us. Knowing Sierra Leone, how hot it always gets, it's in the 80s, and then we came here around March, which was winter, so the weather was a big adjustment. And then coming here, having pizza, pasta, mom making food at home, so we were never used to that.
Learning to speak English was another hurdle, but they did understand the universal language of soccer. However, having only played barefoot in the streets, playing organized soccer at school wasn't quite like home.
It was a big adjustment because not knowing the rules of soccer or anything was really hard for me. Cleats was also another big issue because my feet, I was like, man, my feet are light, and then I put on the cleats. They're so heavy on my feet, so I told my dad, I was like, hey dad, is there a way I can take off these cleats and just play barefoot?
But soon soccer became a huge part of their lives. After Michael paved the way, each of his siblings began playing, often with Haley on the sidelines as team mum. In fact, the Jones boys have become a bit of a dynasty at Grace Christian Academy, which this year won a state championship.
It's definitely their passion.
Yeah.
I mean, talking to other parents, and they have a child that plays a sport, and they go to the practices, and they just don't do much in between practices. But our kids, it's all the time.
Since the siblings arrived, Haley has had another child, so they're now a family of 13, more than enough for a soccer team of their own. But they wouldn't have it any other way.
It's a beautiful mess, I think, is what I would say. It's full of sacrifice, but at the same time, it's full of blessings.